The night she laughed at me, something inside me died. Not slowly, not quietly. It shattered right there, in front of everyone. I stood frozen at the doorway, holding a plastic bag of groceries, my hands still rough from a 14-hour shift, while the woman I loved pointed at me like I was nothing and said words I would never forget. Look at him, my personal ATM machine. He actually thinks I need him. Her friends burst into laughter. And just like that, everything changed. Before I take you deeper into this story, tell me, where are you watching from today? I always love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy real, emotional, and powerful stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Stone Tales. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let me tell you how I became the fool she thought I was. My name is Daniel. At the time, I was 28, working 2 jobs just to survive. By day, I worked as a delivery driver for a logistics company. Long hours, bad traffic, low pay. By night, I cleaned offices, empty buildings, silent hallways, the kind of silence that forces you to think about everything you're trying to ignore. I didn't have much. A small 1-room apartment, a worn-out mattress, 2 pairs of decent clothes, and a phone that was always one bad drop away from dying forever. But I had something I thought was more valuable than money. I had her. Her name was Vanessa. Vanessa was everything I wasn't. Beautiful, confident, stylish, the kind of woman people noticed. The second she walked into a room, she had that presence, effortless, magnetic. We met at a small restaurant where I had gone to pick up a delivery. She was sitting alone, scrolling through her phone, looking irritated. I don't even know why I spoke to her. Maybe it was the way she sighed, or the way she looked like she was carrying more than she wanted people to see. A rough day? I had asked. She looked up at me, surprised. Then she smiled, and that smile changed everything. At first, I couldn't believe someone like her would even give me attention, but she did. We started talking, then texting, then spending time together. She told me her story. She had just moved into a new apartment. Her job situation was unstable. Her family didn't support her much. She was trying to figure things out. I believed every word, and slowly I stepped into a role I didn't realize I was accepting. Her provider. It started small. Babe, I'm short on rent this month. I'll pay you back. Can you help me with groceries? I haven't eaten properly in days. My phone bill is due. I just need a little help. And every time I said yes, not because I had money, but because I cared, because I thought that's what love meant. Sacrifice. I started picking up extra shifts, sleeping less, eating less, pushing my body beyond what it could handle. There were nights I'd come home so exhausted, I'd fall asleep on the floor without even realizing it. But the next morning, I'd wake up, check my phone, and see her message. Good morning, babe. And somehow, it felt worth it. Vanessa never came to my place. She always had a reason. It's too small. It's too far. I don't feel comfortable there. So I spent most of my free time at her apartment, a place I was technically paying for, but didn't belong in. At first, I didn't notice the changes, but they were there, subtle, dangerous. She started going out more, posting pictures in expensive restaurants, wearing clothes I knew she couldn't afford. At first, I thought, maybe she saved up. Maybe she got a better job. But something didn't feel right. Then came the late replies, the unanswered calls, the sudden "I'm busy" messages. And every time I asked, she had an answer ready. "Why are you acting insecure? Do you not trust me? I have a life too, Daniel." And just like that, I'd feel guilty, like I was the problem. One night, I finished my shift early. I decided to surprise her. I used the little money I had left to buy groceries, her favorites, fresh fruit, snacks, things she liked. I even picked up a small cake, because earlier that week she had mentioned she was feeling stressed. I thought maybe this would make her smile. When I got to her apartment, the lights were on. Music was playing, loud. I smiled. She's probably trying to relax, I thought. I knocked. No answer. But the door wasn't locked, so I stepped inside. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Alcohol. Perfume. Something unfamiliar. Then the laughter. Multiple voices. I walked further in, slowly, and that's when I saw them. Vanessa, sitting on the couch, surrounded by her friends, dressed up, makeup perfect, glass in hand, living a life I didn't recognize. She looked at me, and for a moment, her expression changed, not to happiness, not to surprise, but annoyance. "Daniel," she said, like I wasn't supposed to be there. I forced a smile. "Hey, I just came to—" Before I could finish, one of her friends interrupted. "Wait, this is Daniel?" They all turned to look at me. I suddenly became very aware of how I looked. My worn-out shoes, my faded shirt, the sweat from work still clinging to me, the plastic bag in my hand. Vanessa sighed, a long, embarrassed sigh. "Yeah, that's him." Something in her tone hit me hard. I tried to laugh it off. "I just brought some groceries," I thought. She cut me off. "Why would you come here unannounced?" Her voice was sharp now, cold. I just wanted to surprise you," I said quietly. Her friends started whispering, then giggling. "Is he always like this?" one of them asked. Vanessa leaned back on the couch, took a sip of her drink, and then she said it. "Look at him, my personal ATM machine." The room exploded in laughter. My heart stopped. "He works 2 jobs just to pay my rent," she continued, smiling like it was a joke. "And he thinks we're building something together." More laughter. Louder this time. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. I looked at her, hoping, praying she would stop, that she would say it was a joke, that she would look at me with the same warmth she used to. But she didn't. She looked at me like I was nothing. "I don't even like him like that," she added casually. "He's just useful." Something inside me cracked. One of her friends leaned forward. "So why keep him around?" Vanessa shrugged. "Because he pays." Silence filled my ears. Not the room. Just inside me. Everything I had done. Every hour I worked. Every sacrifice. Every moment I believed in us. All of it meant nothing. I slowly lowered the bag of groceries, placed it on the floor. My hands were shaking. I wanted to scream, to ask her why, to demand an explanation, but no words came out. Instead, I turned around and walked toward the door. Behind me, the laughter continued, and just before I stepped out, I heard her say one last thing. "Don't worry, he'll be back. They always come back." I stopped, my hand on the door. For a second, I considered it. Turning back, explaining myself, fighting for what I thought we had. But then something strange happened. I smiled, not out of happiness, but because, for the first time, I saw the truth. I wasn't her boyfriend. I wasn't her partner. I was her investment, and she thought I would keep paying. I walked out, closed the door behind me, and stepped into the cold night air. That should have been the end, but it wasn't, because what Vanessa didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I wasn't the only one pretending. And by the time I was done, she wouldn't be laughing anymore. The night air felt different, colder, sharper, like it was cutting away the version of me that had just died inside that apartment. I walked for hours, no destination, no plan, just movement. Every step echoed with her words. My personal ATM machine, I don't even like him. He's just useful. Each sentence replayed in my mind like a broken record. But something strange was happening. I wasn't crying. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was awake. For the first time in a long time, I saw everything clearly. Every excuse she gave, every late reply, every time she avoided coming to my place. It all made sense now. I wasn't part of her life. I was funding it. I stopped walking when I reached a quiet bridge. The city lights reflected on the water below, flickering like broken memories. I leaned against the railing and let out a long breath. This is it, I told myself. No more. But ending things quietly, walking away. That would have been the easy way out. And maybe the old me would have done that. The tired, broken, desperate version of me. But that version was gone because Vanessa made one mistake. A big one. She assumed I was powerless. She thought I was just a struggling guy working 2 jobs to survive. She thought I needed her. She thought I had nothing. And for the past year, I let her believe that. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, scrolled through my contacts, and stopped at one name, Marcus. Marcus wasn't just a friend. He was the only person who knew the truth about me. The only one who knew what I had been doing. Behind the scenes, this entire time, I hit call. He picked up on the second ring. Daniel? His voice sounded surprised. You okay? It's late. I looked out at the water. Then I said the words that changed everything. It's time. There was a pause. Then a quiet chuckle on the other end. Finally, Marcus said, you see, 2 years before I met Vanessa, I was broke, completely broke, but I wasn't stupid. I had one skill, one thing I was good at. I understood systems, business, logistics, patterns. While working as a delivery driver, I started noticing inefficiencies, routes that wasted time, warehouses that mismanaged inventory, companies losing money without even realizing it. So I started building something quietly, late nights, early mornings. While everyone thought I was just working, I was studying, learning, testing, failing, improving. Eventually, I created a small logistics optimization software. Nothing fancy, just something that helped companies reduce costs and improve delivery efficiency. At first, no one cared. Then one company tried it, then another, and suddenly it started growing. Marcus helped me scale it, handle contracts, legal work, expansion. But here's the thing, I never changed my lifestyle. I kept working my 2 jobs, kept living in my small apartment, kept dressing the same, because I didn't want attention. I didn't want fake people around me. And then Vanessa came into my life. At first, I thought she was different, real. But as time passed, I started noticing things. Her dependence on money, her obsession with appearance, her lack of effort. So I made a decision. I wouldn't reveal anything. I wanted to see who she really was. And now I had my answer. I ended the call with Marcus and opened my email. Dozens of unread messages, business proposals, partnership requests, financial updates. At the top, one email stood out. Acquisition finalized. A major company had just bought a significant share of my software. The number attached to that deal was more money than I had ever imagined having. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I smiled, not because of the money, but because of the timing. Vanessa thought I was her ATM. She had no idea. She had just lost access to a fortune. The next few days were quiet. I didn't call her, didn't text, didn't respond. At first, she didn't notice. Then she did. The messages started coming in. Hey, where are you? Why are you ignoring me? Are you seriously mad about that? It was a joke. A joke. I didn't reply. Then came the calls. Back to back. I ignored every single one. 3 days later, she showed up at my apartment. I heard the knock. Then her voice. Daniel, open the door. I know you're in there. I stayed silent. She knocked again. Louder this time. Stop being childish. Let's talk. I walked to the door, paused, then opened it. She stood there, looking different. No makeup, no perfect outfit, just her. For a moment, she tried to smile. Finally, she said, "You've been acting really weird. Why are you here?" I asked calmly. She blinked, clearly not expecting that tone. "Excuse me? Why are you here?" Her expression shifted. "I came to fix things," she said. "You're overreacting, Daniel. It wasn't that serious." I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I felt nothing. "You called me your ATM," I said. She sighed. "Oh my God, you're still on that? It was just banter." "You said you don't even like me." She hesitated. "I didn't mean it like that," she said quickly. "You said I'm just useful." Silence. Her eyes shifted. "That's not what I meant," she whispered. I nodded slowly. "Then what did you mean?" She didn't answer, because there was no answer. I stepped aside. "Come in." She looked surprised, but walked in. She glanced around my apartment, the same small space she never wanted to visit. "Daniel, look," she started. I know what I said sounded bad, but you have to understand. "No," I interrupted. "You have to understand." She frowned. I walked past her, picked up my phone, and turned the screen toward her. At first, she didn't get it. Then her eyes widened. "The email, the numbers, the deal. What is this?" she asked slowly. "This," I said, "is the reason I never needed to be your ATM." She looked at me, confused. "Don't understand." I smiled slightly. "I own a logistics software company." Silence. Her brain struggled to catch up. "I've been building it for 2 years," I continued, "while working those jobs you laughed at." She shook her head. "No, that's not possible." "It is." I took the phone back. "And 3 days ago, I finalized a deal that changed my life." Her breathing changed. "How much?" she asked. I looked at her. Enough to never worry about money again. She staggered back slightly, sat down on the edge of the bed. You're lying. I'm not. Silence filled the room. Then something shifted in her eyes. Regret. Real, undeniable regret. Daniel, her voice softened. Why didn't you tell me? I laughed. Because I wanted to know if you loved me, or what I could give you. Tears started forming in her eyes. I do love you, she said quickly. I was just confused. My friends. Your friends didn't force you to humiliate me. She stood up, walked toward me. Please, I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. I stepped back. No, I said calmly. Not everyone reveals their true self like that. Tears rolled down her face now. I was wrong, okay? I was stupid. But we can fix this? I shook my head. There is no we. Her face broke. Daniel, please. I walked to the door, opened it. You should go. She didn't move. I said go. She slowly walked toward the door, stopped in front of me. Is this really it? She whispered. I looked at her one last time. Yes, she stepped out, and just before she left, I said one final thing. You were right about one thing. She turned, hope flickering in her eyes. I was useful. Her expression changed, but not anymore. I closed the door, and just like that, it was over. Weeks later, my life looked completely different. New office, new team, new opportunities, but more importantly, a new mindset. I stopped trying to prove my worth to people who didn't value me. Stopped sacrificing myself for those who only saw me as a resource. And slowly, I started building something real, not just a business, a life. As for Vanessa, I heard things. She struggled. The lifestyle she had disappeared. The friends who laughed that night vanished, because without money, she had nothing to offer them. And for the first time, she understood what it felt like to be used. But by then, it was too late, because some lessons only come after the damage is done, and some people only realize your value after they lose access to it. So, if you ever find yourself giving everything to someone who gives you nothing, remember this. Love doesn't make you feel small. It doesn't turn you into a transaction. It doesn't laugh at your sacrifice. And the moment it does, that's not love. That's a lesson.